Hello and welcome back to Hop to the Top. Hope you're all doing well out there today. We've got a big episode coming up because we've got Liverpool in the Champions League, which is going to be probably the biggest test we've ever had as a Grasshoppers side. So look forward to that one. First things first, just want to mention the Patreon again. I want to say a big thank you to Ross McQuaid, who has upped his donation. That is fantastic. Thank you ever so much for your contributions. I really appreciate it. And to Harry Bunce as well. Thank you ever so much for your contributions as well. A brand new Patreon there. So thank you guys for your continued support on the channel. If you're interested in the Patreon, then there's a link down in the description, probably on top of the screen right now as well. And there's different levels. Obviously, there's like a baseline level where you can just sort of contribute to the channel if you want to, to sort of say thank you for the content and things like that if you want to. There's a level as well for experiments, and there's a level as well for get your name in the game. If there's any more things you want me to add to the Patreon that might want you to, or might encourage you to sign up to it, then let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear your feedback and things like that, so please do let me know. But once again, thank you to those guys for contributing and helping me sort of live the dream a little bit in a way. I'd love to make this a full-time job one day, content creation of some sort, and the Patreon does go to help to do that, so it is like living the dream a little bit, so thank you. Either way, today's episode, we need to get properly into it, and the first things first is to look at the fixtures since you were last here that were almost perfect. So much green there, it's brilliant. So I've got to say, I think a few of you could have been doubting things after Harvey Elliott left the club and we didn't really have a proper right winger other than Willian, I suppose. Although Willian has performed pretty well, I've got to say. But even I, thinking that we had a decent side, didn't expect us to go on such a good run, keeping so many clean sheets. So last time you were here was for the 5-0 drubbing of rivals Zurich and the 1-1 draw to Juventus. Of course, we played the cup game off camera in that one because no one's really interested in that. Since then, we have played 6 games, and the first one of those was against a newly promoted Lugano. They were relegated a couple of seasons ago, but came up last season alongside Lausanne. I think this is the first season we've actually had 2 teams come up because obviously it was a relegation playoff. Either way, Lugano won it this time around, so Lausanne and Lugano both came up. But it was lucky for us because we got to batter another team 4-0. Alex Smith, Matthew Bottles, Jerome Bernard and Willian get themselves on the score sheet there. We then had a pretty tight game with Basel, but we came out on top in a 2-1 victory with Randy Schneider and Matthew Bottles scoring another goal in that game. We then hammered Sion 5-0 with Willian, Cyrus Christie, the new signing we made last time, out at right back. Bottles with a brace and Lars Jacobson got one right at the end as well, which is superb. We then had a decent 1-0 victory in the Champions League against Stade Rennais. I think it's going to sort of filter out that we're going to fight Stade Rennais for that third place in the group. Unless Juventus slip up quite a bit, we might scrape second then, but I think it's more likely to fight the third place. So a great victory there with Bottles getting himself on the score sheet. That was followed up with a 2-1 win over Thun. James Rodriguez and Lars Jacobs with the goal in that one as Felipe Cruz got himself a straight red card, which wasn't brilliant. So he missed out the game against Lausanne, which resulted in our first league defeat of the season, which was really frustrating. A 3-2 loss there. We actually went 3-0 down, which wasn't great, and I thought we were going to bring it back to 3-3 because Coley scored 2 after he came on as a substitute. Did very, very well, but unfortunately couldn't quite get back the draw, and we lost it 3-2. So as you would imagine, we are top of the table as things stand with 10 wins from our 11 games thus far, but we're only top of the table by 5 points because Young Boys are doing pretty well too, and not far behind them is Luzerne, who sits 7 points behind us. So it is still, they're still there. They're still chasing us down, so we can't take anything for granted just yet, despite winning the first 10 games of the season. Also, there is a little bit of a discrepancy between a few things in Europe, I've noticed. This competition reputation places the Swiss Super League as the 8th best league in Europe. However, if we look at nation club coefficients, we are the 5th best nation. I think this is just sort of European performance, essentially. This is what it's based on, European performance, whereas this is based on pure reputation. So there's a slight difference there. So you might see a few different things there, just to explain that a little bit, because it caught me off guard and confused me a little bit to start off with. In terms of our Champions League group, we actually sit second in the group right now after our win against Stade Rennais because Liverpool beat Juventus. So they sit on 6 points, Liverpool, top of the group. We're on 4 points. Juventus on 1 point, Stade Rennais on 0 points. I fully expect Stade Rennais to lose to Juventus. We'll probably lose to Liverpool, and I imagine that will sort of even things out a little bit. Should also point out as well, Matthew Bottles is on absolute fire this season. 11 goals from 11 league games so far this season, already eclipsing the total amount of goals he got last season. So clearly, He's liking having wingers rather than inside forwards and playing as an advanced forward rather than a false 9 that we tried to do most of last season before switching him up to an advanced forward in the end. He's got 13 in all competitions as well, so he is living the dream this season, so hopefully he keeps his form going. For the game against Liverpool, we've got a pretty full-strength lineup, I've got to say. We've got Kalas in goal, who's been brilliant so far this season, keeping clean sheets, and he's been helped, I've got to say, by the defenders in front of him. Today, we've got Gauther, Bajrami, Sterigu, and Cruz in that back line. Randy Schneider and Lars Jacobs combined in the midfield today because Granit Xhaka is looking a little tired and wanted a rest because he's looking jaded apparently. So he's being rested today, although I think Schneider and Jacobs will do just fine in the midfield. Bernard, Alex Smith and Willian in that attacking midfield trio with Bottles, of course, leading the line for us today. So as kickoff is upon us here today in Anfield, the first highlight comes within side of a minute and Willian wins the ball there but gives it straight back to Robertson and Salah nearly gets on the end of that flick on there. Kalas collects the loose ball and can we build from this as Bernard on the ball, our number 7, into Randy Schneider who comes forward with the ball, plays it out to Willian. Willian looking a little bit shaky, although the ball is forward to Felipe Cruz in acres of space. No one, unfortunately, inside the 6-yard box there. I think he was left in a bit of no man's land deciding whether to shoot or cross, and in the end, it wasn't fruitful. Liverpool looking to come back at us, though. Of course, they are heavy favourites in today's game and want to be winning the game here today. They're a very good side still as Alexander-Arnold shoots. The deflection there from the keeper. The keeper palms it out the way, but it goes into the path of Sadio Mane, who scores in the back of the net. You hate to see it, but it was a well-worked Liverpool goal in the end. Not much Kalas could really do with it in the end, unfortunately. We'll watch the replay as De Jong puts it into Alexander-Arnold, who just wasn't really stopped. Kalas makes a good save. Unfortunately, Felipe Cruz couldn't get there in time, and Mane puts it in an open net. If we can sort of keep within touching distance of Liverpool in today's game, though, we are going to be always in it, of course, as Mane with another shot coming in, and Robertson this time with a third attempt, ending up putting it in the own goal there. Gauther with the own goal. The cross was a good one. It was in that proper area, in between the defence and the goalkeeper. That's where you want to put your crosses in. And he's put it in the perfect area, because at some point, it's either going in the back of the net from your player or an own goal in those kind of situations. And this time, unfortunately, Gauther puts it in the back of his own net. So 12 minutes gone, 2-0 down to Liverpool already. It's not ideal. I've got to say, we are under fire. We are definitely under fire from Liverpool. It's probably because I've got us on attacking rather than like cautious, which I've been told to do in these kind of situations. I forgot to change that down, so that's my bad. Perhaps that's something, maybe I should cut that bit out so you don't berate me in the comment section for going on attacking against Liverpool for the first 25 minutes of the game. But I meant to change it earlier on, completely forgot. Hopefully it might increase our chances, and it might do it right now as Bottles, agonisingly close, curling it round Alisson in goal, unfortunately going wide in the end. And we've got another chance maybe with Gauther's throwing Gauther to pump it up the pitch. Come on, Bottles is right there waiting for it. Instead, he gives it to Salah, who gives it back to us. And Schneider gets it up towards Bottles instead, who's running forward on the ball, gets past his defender into Alex Smith. Bernard on the ball, back to Alex Smith. Bottles to put it in the back of a net. Does. What a fantastically worked goal that was. And we are back in the game now with only one goal in it, 2-1. Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't actually expect a Liverpool goal to come just then, because nothing was really happening. And then out of nowhere, you'll see it on this replay, you'll see it here, the ball comes forward, right? And I stopped talking at this point because Sterigu heads it, but then this guy gets it, but he's being closed down by 2 defenders. I mean, it's a volley from 25, 30 yards out in the top corner. I was not expecting that to go in the back of the net, so I wasn't talking. Shows what I know, clearly. So, it's half-time, 3-1 down. Stade Rennais are drawing with Juventus, which is pretty interesting. Kante getting the goal for Juventus, which is even more interesting. I've got to say, if Stade Rennais can hold Juventus, that really helps us out a lot, to be fair. Puts a good position in our favour. Of course, all it means is if Juventus draw with Stade Rennais, it does rely on us beating Juventus next time we play them, or not losing at least, to try and stay in the position we are. It's still a long way to go, but obviously we want to try and finish in the top 2 to get promoted. Promoted, just qualify for the next stage. It's not a promotion, is it, at all? I suppose it technically is in a way. Is Alexander-Arnold under a bit of pressure. Becker plays it out to the defenders there, and really there's Liverpool clear the danger, but Felipe Cruz gets in the way of the ball forward, but then loses his position to Mane. Sadio Mane coming forward. Huge save there from Kalas to sort of keep us within touching distance slightly, as Stade Rennais have just gone 2-1 up against Juventus. I've just seen that. It's not updated on the table yet, but if we look here, Stade Rennais just gone 2-1 up. That is huge. Matthew Bottles coming forward with the ball, nearly loses it, plays it out towards Willian, who does lose it, and Liverpool coming forward again. How many highlights are going to be in today's game? It's a bit frustrating, because I just want to get on with the rest. They've scored a goal as well. You hate to see it. It's 4-1 to Liverpool. I think that's probably going to be full-time. Bernard is apparently looking quite tired, so we're going to take him off for Leon Dajaku. Lars Jacobs also tired, so Granit Xhaka can come on for him. We'll swap those two over. Sturridge on a yellow card. Let's rest him and bring on Augusto. Another free kick, and it's not even a free kick, it's a corner, and it just goes in the back of the net there. This guy, Esposito, has got his hat-trick. Wow. 5-1 Liverpool. Well done, lads. Really, we should do so much better defending there. That was terrible from our players. I don't know what they were playing at. But Liverpool, deservedly so, winning today's game. I've got to say, we've been in it. We've had 9 shots to their 30 shots, which is a lot of shots. But it's not like we've not been in it, because 9 shots is a decent amount to get against a team like Liverpool, I would say. It's just that they've been really, really clinical. As Salah skips past the defenders, cleared, and Bottles now on the counter-attack. If we can grab another consolation goal, that would be beautiful. As he comes past the defenders, and it eventually goes in the back of the net. I think it might go down as an own goal for Virgil van Dijk. It does. Well, watch this as Bottles races forward with the ball. He does so well to beat the defenders, I've got to say, and just get past them all. And then he gets to the final moment where he just kicks it as hard as he can against Virgil van Dijk, and it goes and bounces in the back of the net. So fair play to him. Does it count as his assist? No, unfortunately, it doesn't count as his assist, which is a little bit frustrating. We'd like to have that, wouldn't we? We'd love to have that kind of assist thing. We have maybe got another chance to come forward as Bottles up to Willian, who's through now. Unfortunately, at 36 years old, he's got no pace, was caught up immediately and had to shoot from distance, and it didn't go in the back of the net. So that was a little bit annoying as another corner comes in for Liverpool. 6-2 now. What's happened to our defence? I mean, we've been rock solid all season, and yet here come Liverpool and put 6 past us. You hate to see it. Come on, let's grab a third. Let's not embarrass ourselves too much, as Bottles actually does grab a third goal and gets his 15th of the season whilst he's at it as well, which is superb. He might be in for a new contract offer soon, I've got to say. I want to keep him tied down for longer if he keeps scoring goals like this, as he just glances that into the back of the net, and Alisson Becker does nothing there. Looking at the clock, though, I think that's how it's going to end. I've got to say, we've come to Liverpool, scored 3 goals. We should be very disappointed not to win that game. Stade Rennais end up beating Juventus as well, so that changes the dynamic of the group just a little bit, as my assistant manager's done the wrong team talk there, apart from for Bottles, who looks extremely delighted by the response, so we'll leave it as it is. All in all, actually, it is kind of positive, because we do stay second in the group. Liverpool are winning the group. You know, we don't have to worry about those guys. We just have to concentrate on Stade Rennais and Juventus now to try and hold them off second place. Either way, we've got a couple of days off now before the St. Gallen game, which hopefully will be a lot calmer, and hopefully we score 6 goals in that game as opposed to concede 6. Speaking of European football, I said I'd talk about it in yesterday's episode, but I ended up completely forgetting to talk about it. So, how are other Swiss clubs getting on in European football? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. All the 6 clubs last season that qualified for Europe have all got themselves to the group stages, which is fantastic. Basel, let's see how they're getting on in the Champions League. Well, so far they've lost all their games to Kiev, Atletico Madrid and Porto, so they are probably looking at to be bottom of their group as well, which is frustrating. Young Boys qualified for the Champions League playoff round, but they lost it on away goals, so they went into the Europa League instead, and they've won against Apoel. They've lost to Arsenal, but drew with Crivers, sorry. So let's have a quick look at Group A. They sit 3rd right now, which would put them in the Europa Conference League for their second half of the season. They finished 3rd, obviously, but we want them to finish 2nd or 1st to get into the late stages of the Europa League. Luzern would have qualified directly for the group stages of the Europa League, if I remember correctly, and they have done because they are in Group H, and they have currently sitting 3rd with 1 win and 2 losses against Frankfurt and Real Betis and Ghent. So hopefully they get themselves in the top 2. But again, if they finish 3rd, it's not the end of the world because they go to the Conference League instead. That means that St. Gallen and Thun should be in the Europa Conference League, which they are. St. Gallen aren't doing brilliantly, though, with 2 draws and a loss to Braga in their group there, which isn't brilliant. It's currently sitting bottom of their group. That's a very, very tough group, I've got to say. So no wonder they're not doing so well there. And then the last team was Thun. They finished 6th last season. They're also in the group stages of the Europa Conference League. They're in Group D, where they also sit bottom in a slightly easier group, but still teams like Brøndby, AIK are pretty decent compared to Thun, I would imagine. So it does look like there's a bit of a mix of how it's going for our Swiss counterparts in European football. But for the most part, the bigger sides like us and Young Boys and Luzern, it's looking okay. Either way, we've made it to the St. Gallen game now, and I don't really want to make many changes to the lineup because they're all looking pretty well rested. I think we'll swap Schneider and Jacobs over, and we'll bring Granit Xhaka back on the pitch for Jacobs. Apparently, Bajrami and Sterigu have had a bad partnership when playing together. So we're going to bring Augusto on for Bajrami instead, see if that sort of makes things a little better at the back. I suppose that bad partnership's just related to the Liverpool game, though, because we've been keeping clean sheets all season, so I'm a little bit confused by that. Other than that, I think I want to leave the team as it was for the previous game. So we'll submit that and try and batter St. Gallen today. So kickoff is upon us once again. How's St. Gallen doing, by the way, in the league table? Sitting bottom, which is very interesting because they're a team that are usually, well, in recent years, they've been challenging for the title in early stages of the season. So I'm very surprised to see them right at the bottom as Cruz gets rid of a cross, not a corner, as they still come forward. Kalas makes the collection, though. Might be a good idea to look at transfers for St. Gallen, see if they've lost any key players, because I'm very surprised to see them right down at the bottom of the table as Matthew Bottles nearly puts it past the keeper there. Gets past him, it gets tackled at the last second. St. Gallen, they're in Europe, aren't they? We literally looked at them. Yeah, they are in Europe because they did very well last season, didn't they? They finished 5th last season, that's what it was. And, you know, in recent years, they've really found themselves in that battle. They've been top of the table for a good few weeks on some occasions. So I'm very surprised to see them struggling right at the bottom. I didn't really notice that, to be fair. I was too busy enjoying our 10-win running streak or whatever it was. 10 wins in a row we had, didn't we, in the league, which was fantastic. As Bottles into Schneider. What a ball that is. And Schneider puts that in the back of the net for his 7th goal of the season for a central midfielder. Already 7 goals. Schneider has just come into his own this season. He's been fantastic. And I tell you what, Alex Smith, after all the promise he showed in being a superb player, he's just dropped off. I mean, I don't know what it is. He's just dropping off a little bit and just not getting as involved, not being so crucial as he used to be. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's just a bad bit of form when he starts to pick himself back up again. But Smith, I'm a little bit sad about just the sort of lack of development we've seen from him over the past season or so, as Colas gets the ball out to Augusto, up towards Gouth. If we can get a second goal in quick succession, that would be brilliant in killing off St. Gallen. As Augusto fires it up towards Bottles, doesn't reach its intended target. We do retain possession, though, as Schneider on the ball now up towards Willian. Willian with no pace plays it into Schneider, who's got some pace to get in behind the defenders. Can he put the cross in? Bottles gets there, and he gets his 16th of the season. What a player he is this season. I love him. So Liverpool scored 2 past us in 12 minutes. We scored 2 past St. Gallen in 13 minutes. So I think that's pretty comparable. I'm pretty happy with that. As Gauther on the ball into Xhaka, up to Bernard, who hasn't shown much of his ability so far in today's episode, but has been fantastic whilst you've not been watching episodes. Or in between episodes, I should say. I made it sound like you choose not to watch the in between episodes bits. No, I choose that because I can't be bothered to record every single game. Matthew Bottles coming forward, though, putting it just wide. Although coming soon will be a series where I do every single game. A lot of you seemed very keen when I mentioned doing a save with Inter Miami when the MLS season starts in February and doing every single game there. It's a bit of like a live series, and a lot of you seem very keen on that, so keep your eyes peeled for that one come end of February sort of time. Smith on the ball into Schneider. Schneider up towards Bottles. Can he beat the defender there? Not quite, but he does manage to beat the defender in the ball back to the goalkeeper, the pass back. I was looking for the right word then. The thing with Bottles is, if he actually scored like half of the one-on-one opportunities that he got, he'd have so many more goals this season. He gets one-on-one with the keeper so many times, but I think it seems to be a general thing with strikers in FM20 is that one-on-ones just aren't really a thing. You can't really do them very well. I don't know if it's a bit of a glitch in the match engine or if it just really is that kind of realistic. I don't know, but it seems like strikers miss a lot of one-on-ones. Come on then, lads. Let's try and get a third goal in today's game. Or not concede. That would be good. No, let's get a third goal then. Let's get a third goal. Asterigo on the ball. Can't do anything with it. I thought we were going to score a goal there. Unfortunately not. 20 minutes to go. We'll make a couple changes again. Bottles has played well today, but let's give Coley a go. We've not seen him on camera for a while. Come on, Coley. Show us what you can do. See if you've still got that 20 goal a season in you. Willian not played amazingly well, so we're going to bring on James Rodriguez instead, but we are going to start to bring Schmitz on a little bit for him now. Of course, Willian's retiring. When is he actually retiring? Can I see this in his contract? I know it's in like a personal information bit. You can see here, plans to retire at the end of the calendar year. Can I do this now? Interaction. Reconsider retirement. Can you just like stay here for at least the rest of the season? Well, I mean, I don't know why I've done it in the middle of the match. Excuse me, William, I'm bringing you off the pitch to talk about your retirement. I mean, that's kind of what I've done to him there, if I'm being honest with ourselves. As we'll confirm those substitutes. And St. Gallen on a bit of a counter-attack. Can they actually do anything with it? That's the question. They get it out wide. Coming forward now, then number 21, can't put it in the middle. That's surely ended the highlights. I mean, I don't mind if Willian wants to leave the club then, because he has been fantastic and he's sort of bridged that little gap that we needed to have between Schmitz coming into the first team and obviously Harvey Elliott leaving, or that's the other way around, isn't it? but having for the rest of the season would be really good because I think we need that stability, I think. And I think we need him there for his experience more than anything as well. He's been superb having around at the squad. Less than 10 minutes ago, though, and we are coming on the attack once again. Bernard on the ball. Can he do anything with it? In towards Randy Schneider, who's the first man to it. It's 8th of the season in the back of the net. 3-0 against St. Gallen. That's what we like to see. But it does end 3-0. Technically, we draw the episode 3-3, but I'm going to take it as a win because we're still second in the group and we are still top of the table as well with a big win against St. Gallen. Willian is going to reconsider the retirement and come back to us in a couple of weeks' time. So, I mean, that's good. I don't think he'll reconsider it, unfortunately, but I'd like it if he did, just to have that extra body in the squad for the rest of the season. Next episode's going to be a big one then. A big one. I think we're going to go straight through to the Basel and Stade Rennais game. We'll miss the second Liverpool game because we'll probably lose that. We've already done Juventus on camera and I don't really want to dilly-dally too much in the early stages of the season. So I think going through to the Stade Rennais game for next episode is the best course of action. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have done, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more Hot to the Top. So have a wonderful evening. See you then. Goodbye.